A new era. The world reacts after the leaders of North and South Korea hold a historic summit. White House guest. President Trump welcomes German Chancellor Angela Merkel for a quick visit as the allies consider key decisions. Forced out? The Catholic chaplain of the House of Representatives will step down. We have the latest. And the gold standard.
You displayed just incredible strength, representing three very beautiful letters. USA.
The president hosts the U.S. Olympic teams. On EWTN News Nightly for Friday, April 27th, 2018. Good evening from Washington, D.C., and thank you for joining us for news from a Catholic perspective. I'm Wyatt Goolsby, in for Lauren Ashburn. It's a historic day for the Korean Peninsula and the world. The leaders of North and South Korea promised to end the Korean War later this year. The announcement follows the first face-to-face talks between the Korean leaders in more than a decade. Denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula and a vow to end the Korean War. Together on the south side of the divide, President and Supreme Leader deliver an aspirational decree. Kim Jong-un and Moon Jae-in announced what would have been unimaginable just a year ago when the North threatened to turn Seoul into a sea of fire. Moon Jae-in saying today Kim Jong-un and I have agreed that a complete denuclearization will be achieved. That is our common goal. This breakthrough moment after a day made for television and the history books. Kim Jong-un grips President Moon's hand and steps over the simple concrete line that represents a Korea divided for generations and militarized to the brink of destruction. Hand in hand, they take a symbolic and unscripted step to the north. Kim is now the first in a dynasty of dictators to travel to the south since the armistice in 1953. Kim says, "I came here with a mindset that I'm standing at the starting line of a new history of the North-South relationship. A unified Korea remains a long way off. For now, it's about guaranteeing survival. The North needs relief from biting sanctions. For the South and the watching world, it's the promise of denuclearization." But an afternoon walk in a garden on the border offers the leaders a chance for private discussion. Stern faces show an intense conversation. Millions across both Koreas and around the world wait for what will happen when President Donald Trump comes to the table. And President Trump says he sees the Korean summit as a sign of hope. He plans to meet with Kim Jong-un in either May or June. White House correspondent Mark Irons reports. Good evening, Mark.
Good evening, Wyatt. The president is sounding more optimistic than ever before about achieving peace with Kim Jong-un. He says the North Koreans have played U.S. presidents before, but claims he won't be taken advantage of.
The United States has been played beautifully like a fiddle because you had a different kind of a leader. We're not going to be played, okay? We're going to hopefully make a deal. If we don't, that's fine.
But the president doesn't think Kim Jong-un is playing this time, and the historic summit between North and South Korea is a positive sign, tweeting, "Korean War to end. The United States and all of its great people should be very proud of what is now taking place in Korea." He continued to share his optimism with a group of U.S. Olympic athletes at the White House today.
I want to express my hope that all of the people of Korea, North Korea and South, can someday live in harmony, prosperity, and peace. And it looks like it could happen.
Now the president prepares to meet with Kim Jong-un, and his goal is a tall order: a nuclear-free North Korea.
Hopefully we're going to have great success. We'll see what happens, but hopefully we're going to have great success.
We're now getting a first glimpse of new Secretary of State Mike Pompeo's meeting with Kim Jong-un, the White House releasing photos of their meeting over Easter weekend in North Korea. Press Secretary Sarah Sanders tweeting, "Great to have Secretary Pompeo confirmed. He will do an excellent job helping POTUS lead our efforts to denuclearize the Korean Peninsula." The photos come as Pompeo was formally sworn in as Secretary of State Thursday afternoon, shortly after the Senate voted to confirm him. The president confirmed today the U.S. is looking at a couple different locations for the summit with Kim Jong-un, but gave no details regarding where specifically. The White House says the meeting could take place in coming weeks. Wyatt?
Mark, the president seems eager to make peace on the Korean Peninsula as part of his legacy.
That's right. Today he said the responsibility fell on the shoulders of previous administrations, but they did not come through. And so now he has the responsibility to end the conflict. He calls it a world problem. Today he said, "I hope I can do it for the world." Wyatt.
All right, it's an issue we'll continue to follow. White House correspondent Mark Irons. Thanks, Mark. President Trump hosts a second European leader this week. Today, it's German Chancellor Angela Merkel. Both were asked what their countries will do about the Iran nuclear deal.
I don't talk about whether or not I'd use military force. It's not appropriate to be talking about. But I can tell you this. They will not be doing nuclear weapons. That I can tell you. Okay? They're not going to be doing nuclear weapons. You can bank on it.
Chancellor Merkel says the deal is a first step towards slowing down Iran's nuclear capabilities, but she says it's not sufficient overall. The Republican-led House Intelligence Committee finds no evidence President Trump's campaign colluded with Russia. However, the committee says both the Trump and Clinton campaigns used poor judgment. The president says he's honored by the findings, adding that what we really should do is get on with our lives. Democrats say the report was not a serious investigation. Speaker Paul Ryan has forced the House chaplain to resign. Democrats are demanding an investigation and singing the praises of Jesuit Father Pat Conroy. Capitol Hill correspondent Jason Calvi has that story. Good evening, Jason.
Good evening, Wyatt. Now, Father Conroy tells the New York Times that Speaker Ryan found one of his prayers political during the tax reform debate. The speaker, who's also a Catholic, denies that. This morning, he told House Republicans the reason is not that prayer, but complaints about Conroy's ministry. The incident has upset many Democrats and Republicans.
I think the dismissal of Father Pat Conroy is a disgrace and is an outrage.
Democrats stand on the House floor trying to launch an investigation into why Speaker Ryan forced the chaplain's resignation.
As this forced resignation has compromised the dignity of the House of Representatives.
Father Pat Conroy has served since 2011. The Jesuit priest leads the floor in prayer.
Let us pray. We come to you today humbly to ask your blessing.
Catholic Congressman Jeff Fortenberry says he's surprised.
Father Conroy was a friend of mine. He was very personally helpful to me, so this was surprising.
Father Conroy ministered to a broken Congress after last year's congressional baseball shooting. He also served when a train carrying Republican lawmakers in January crashed into a truck.
He went out to give the last rites to the people who were dying. Again, a beautiful gift in a very hard moment. Now that you're reminding of it, you make me want to cry.
Now a panel of lawmakers will recommend a new chaplain. Representative Mark Walker, a Southern Baptist minister, is a member. The Hill quoted him as saying he was looking for someone who had a family. Some Democrats are accusing Walker of being anti-Catholic.
You've asked for a minister who has children. That would exclude Catholics. Are you anti-Catholic?
Not at all. Part of our organizations, everything that we do back home, we use people from all denominations. Where the context is that we may be looking for someone who has familial experience, people who deal with families, and that can be a priest, it can be male or female.
Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi picked Representative Emanuel Cleaver of Missouri to help choose the next chaplain.
Anyone coming in now is going to be a little bit nervous. Look, as I'm an ordained United Methodist pastor, I can tell you that following in a situation like this, I would be nervous, because I would think, if I pray for peace or justice or, something of that nature, am I going to be fired?
Speaker Ryan says he remains grateful for Father Conroy's years of service, but 148 members of Congress have written to him demanding an answer as to why he forced the resignation of the chaplain. Wyatt?
Jason, will there be an investigation?
Well, the Democrats' attempt on the House floor today to force a vote on this resolution was partisan. It even referred to the GOP tax plan as tax scam, so that move failed in the House today.
Capitol Hill correspondent Jason Calvi reporting. Thanks, Jason. A Catholic priest who had been kidnapped in Mexico is found dead. 83-year-old Father Moises Reyes suffered a fatal heart attack. He is the third priest in a week to have died under suspicious circumstances. 24 priests have been killed in the country since 2012. The father of terminally ill toddler Alfie Evans is calling for a truce, saying he'll work with doctors to give his son dignity and comfort. Tom Evans also says he will no longer make public statements about his son's condition. He says the family appreciates all the support they've received from around the world. The divisive case has pitted doctors and the British courts against the boy's parents, Christian groups, and Pope Francis. Alfie Evans' case could lead to a change in protocol in the UK. The parents of the late Charlie Gard, another British child who died after a similar legal dispute, have launched a campaign to change the law. They want to give parents more say as to how and where their children can seek medical treatment. Their proposal has not yet been published in detail. Facebook is launching a pilot program in Ireland it hopes will lead to more transparency in political advertising. This as Irish voters will soon cast their ballots on a referendum about abortion. Facebook has been talking more about transparency after a scandal involving the political consultant Cambridge Analytica. It sparked debate about whether users' private data is really kept private on the social network. The new tool will allow users to see all of the advertisements on one page. Voters in Ireland will decide in May whether they want to retain or repeal a constitutional ban on abortion. A battle over drug trafficking routes in Colombia leaves residents trapped in their homes. A Catholic bishop is asking the gangs that are fighting to leave civilians alone. The United Nations estimates the conflict has caused more than 4,000 people to leave the region since mid-March. Nigeria's Catholic bishops are condemning an attack this week in their country that killed at least 19 people, including 2 priests, at morning mass. They tell Vatican News the strike was barbaric and satanic. Yesterday, the bishops met with Pope Francis in the Vatican. And the newest Prince of England officially has a name. 3, in fact. Louis Arthur Charles is the infant son of William and Kate, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. He is the 5th in line to the throne of England. Bookies in Britain had been taking bets on the new name, but Louis was not among the favorites. Coming up, we talk with a pro-lifer in England about a recent crackdown on groups that counsel women outside abortion clinics. And Pope Francis tells the faithful what to expect in heaven.
Ognuno di noi deve dire Gesù sta pregando per me.
Pope Francis says heaven is not boring. At his daily Mass at the Vatican today, the Holy Father said those who reach heaven will come face to face with Christ. He also reminds the faithful we are traveling in life to meet Jesus. Welcome back. I'm Wyatt Goolsby in for Lauren Ashburn. Arkansas once again has a 10 Commandments monument on its state capitol grounds, this less than a year after the original was destroyed. State Senator Jason Rappert unveiled the monument this week. 4 concrete barriers are in place to protect it from being destroyed again. The man accused of driving his car into the monument will not stand trial after being found mentally unfit. A bill that would erect a memorial to the unborn moves forward in Tennessee. The state Senate approved the monument. Now the bill goes to the House, where it is expected to pass. The structure would not require tax dollars. Tennessee has some of the strongest pro-life laws in the nation. Pro-life groups protesting and holding prayer vigils outside a UK abortion clinic have been ordered to move away from the entrance. Authorities say the activists are harassing women. Earlier this week, Lauren Ashburn talked to a pro-life leader who says the restrictions are a setback for the movement.
Joining me now is Claire McCullough, founder of the Good Counsel Network. It's a global pro-life group that has been a peaceful presence in front of the Marie Stopes Clinic. Welcome to the program.
Hello.
The order criminalizes the approval or disapproval of abortion, prayer, or any kind of interference toward clinic users within 300 feet. How does this hurt the pro-life movement?
Well, we've seen over 500 women outside that abortion centre who have accepted our help. They're usually the most vulnerable kinds of women who haven't found the help elsewhere and don't get it inside the abortion centre. And these women can't even see us where we're standing now. So that's how it's hurting at the moment. It's hurting individual women who would have been able to seek and receive help.
Critics say those zones are necessary, though, because the tactics that your group and others use to counsel women amount to harassment. What is your response to that?
Well, it's been interesting watching this develop. I mean, it's a group of local activists who oppose us. They ideologically oppose anyone being outside the abortion centre. They've scraped around trying to find women who will complain, and they've tried to bring up historic complaints. There's been no actual complaints made in the last 23 years. There's been no charges, no criminal charges. There's been no cautions from the police, no serious complaints of any nature in 23 years. And that's for a reason. The reason is because it's a peaceful witness. We're offering help and support, and that's all we're doing. And they're not really able to bring up any evidence of anything other than offering that support. So they're trying to just criminalise the offer of a leaflet and the offer of help. The local MP is very, very supportive of this move. There's a big move by the abortion clinic chain, which is the biggest one in England, called BPAS, which is promoting this whole move to back people away from the abortion centre. We think, why now? Because we know at Ealing the number of women entering the clinic has dropped by 13%. And in another clinic that we witness outside, the number has dropped by 17%. So these abortion centres, you know, are definitely losing business and losing money.
Bishop Philip Egan of Portsmouth says to remove from the environment of the abortion clinics alternative voices is to limit freedom of choice. Can you give me an example of a woman who you have helped by sidewalk counseling?
Yeah, I mean, many of the women that we're helping, and to take one for example, a woman who we've seen who was a victim of domestic violence. She didn't have any recourse to public funds. That means she's illegally here or she's a foreign worker who hasn't qualified for help yet. And that means she can't go into a domestic violence refuge. If she doesn't have the abortion today, her partner is telling her, you know, you're going to not be able to come back here if you don't have the abortion, or maybe he's going to beat her up if she comes home and she hasn't had the abortion. And this is an actual example of a woman I've met outside an abortion centre who we've had to take and find accommodation for that day to prevent them from being coerced into an abortion they did not want.
Very tough situation. I understand other movements like this are happening around England. Claire McCullough, founder of the Good Counsel Network, a global pro-life group. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Up next, there's good news for the Vatican about its finances. And President Trump adds a little gold, silver, and bronze to the White House.
You overcame setbacks, you powered through obstacles, and you never, ever quit.
Big news for fans of the Swedish pop group ABBA. They're back. The group announced they recorded two new songs for the first time in 35 years. The new material will be used in a broadcast special in December. ABBA broke up in 1982. The band members have long said they will never perform live together again. Welcome back. I'm Wyatt Goolsby in for Lauren Ashburn. We don't have the legal requirements to continue to play more ABBA music, but just so you know, throughout this block, the Dancing Queen will still be in my head. According to the Vatican's financial watchdog group, suspicious activity is actually in decline in the Holy See. Today, the Financial Information Authority released its 2017 report. It says 150 incidents of suspicious activity were filed last year. That's a significant drop compared to 2016 when 207 were recorded. Pope Benedict established the watchdog group in 2010. The goal is to prevent money laundering and financial misconduct in the Vatican. Tommaso De Rusa is the director of that group, the Financial Information Authority. He joins us now from Rome. Tommaso, Pope Francis is continuing the financial reform begun by his predecessor. In the report, you outline positive developments and challenges that remain. Can you give us a brief summary of what they are?
Yes, thank you. The main commitment for the Holy See is ensuring the transparency and integrity of the limited activities carried out within the Vatican City State. So the main challenge is really ensuring the integrity of the financial activities, considering the real mission of the Holy See, that is a humanitarian and charitable missions. This is a process. The jurisdictions are improving every day. This is the case of the Holy See. There is something to do again, but I'm confident we are on the right track.
The Vatican's Children's Hospital has been in the news lately because it's offering assistance to the British toddler Alfie Evans, but the hospital is under scrutiny for its own financial scandal. Are you and your team making headway in terms of the reform of the Vatican finances?
Again, the reform, it's a tricky concept. It's a process. For the case of the AIF, as you mentioned, it's been created by Pope Benedict XVI, consolidated by Pope Francis. And if you consider the context, really an institutionalized context, whole challenges, but also new challenges relating to the global scenario, it gives you the sense of the complexity of the activity. But this is the activity of any jurisdiction. And in our case, Again, I'm confident. If you see the concrete results in our sector, AML CFT sector, but in general terms in the finance, we see progresses. The importance is the process, the direction, and it's clear the mandate of Pope Francis is clear, the direction is clear, the need for the Church and for the Holy See.
Now I can only imagine how difficult it is when you're talking about such a unique place like the Vatican. Unlike a big corporation, the Vatican, though, has a unique mission. So what are your goals for its finances, just moving forward?
Again, our mandate is twofold. On the one hand, we are the financial supervisor, in particular, of the Institute for the Works of Religion. And it's really a challenge since the Institute as such has a unique mission, religious work. So ensuring the consistency with the mission, but also the compliance with the international standards. This is the first challenge. In parallel, the international cooperation. Today, preventing illicit crimes, it relates to the domestic jurisdiction, but international cooperation is pivotal. This is why AIF in 2017 signed new 19 MOUs with other supervisory authorities and financial intelligence units, strengthening a network of more than 50 counterparts and supporting in this way, again, the mission of the Holy See, but also ensuring to the Catholic Church that funds, assets managed by the institution of the Holy See are properly managed, ensuring the integrity of all the activities.
Like you say, this is a complex process here that takes a long time to dissect. So Tommaso De Rusa, Director of the Vatican Financial Information Authority, thanks so much for breaking it down for us.
Thank you. Thank you.
And finally tonight, President Trump welcomes the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic teams to the White House. The president singled out 17-year-old Red Gerard, who won gold in snowboarding.
You are a courageous guy. Say a couple of words.
Come on. Can't put me on the spot like this.
The president also publicly recognized several other athletes, including the women's hockey team. It won gold by beating Canada. The Olympics give President Trump Olympians, gave President Trump a flag signed by all the team members. And congratulations to all of our American Olympic athletes and to the Olympic athletes around the world. And we thank you for watching tonight. That'll do us for the entire EWTN News Nightly team. I'm Wyatt Goolsby. We're back here on Monday with more news from a Catholic perspective. Good night and God bless.